All right, today's video is going to be about my Smith & Wesson 629 revolver and why I choose 44 Magnum. The main reason I like 44 Magnum is because it is very powerful, but it is still fairly tame. Because of that, I can decently rapid fire it, probably about 1 shot per second, maybe a little faster. I'll try to get some range footage soon to demonstrate that. The reason why I try to shoot this faster is because this is my bear defense gun. And I will go over some reasons a little bit later as to why this is my bear defense gun. But first, I would like to tell you a little bit of a range story of when I first got this gun 3 years ago. So when I first got it, I switched out the factory rubber grips to some Hogue wood grips, and unfortunately I don't have them with me to show you right now. But I got them because, that's kind of the recommendation. Nice shiny gun, get some nice wood grips on there. So I did that. And I quickly ran into a problem of the finger grooves were far too wide and spaced apart for my smaller hands. So my fingers would land on the edges themselves of the groove. And it was very uncomfortable. And then also the back strap, this metal part that's underneath this grip right here, was not really covered up at all. And that just made it even more painful to shoot. But despite that, I went through with it anyways, right? So over the course of 2 weeks after I get it, I'm shooting it as much as possible, going to the range multiple times a week for 2 weeks. And after that, this part right here of my thumb joint was just completely shot, and the rest of my hand was completely sore too. So I went back to the range, sometime later, and I couldn't even comfortably shoot a 9mm because my hand was just so beat up. So I had to wait a month for my hand to stop hurting. But the solution to that problem was to change the grips. And so that's when I switched over to these VZ 320 grips is what the model is called. And it doesn't have to be a G10 grip. It can be a rubber grip or even a wood grip. But my strong recommendation is to get one that covers up the back strap, because that makes a huge difference. I guess it's not really a back strap, but the metal frame on this has, square edges on the sides. And that will definitely dig into your thumb joint and just be overall uncomfortable. So after I switched to these grips, it made a huge difference. All right, now for the reasons why I choose this gun for bear defense. So I've moved the gun on away and I've pulled these bullets that were in the background up front. So I've heard of at least one case where the guy was getting attacked by a bear. The bear was on top of him, and I believe he had a Glock 10mm or some kind of powerful autoloader, and I believe he got one shot off, and then the slide got hung up on the fur of the bear, so it wasn't able to go back into battery. Like the hair got into the chamber, and so he fortunately was able to clear that malfunction and then continue to fire, and he came out alive. Personally, I do not want to take that kind of risk when you have an animal that weighs, like 1,000 pounds, thousands of pounds attacking you. I don't want to take that kind of risk, okay? With a revolver, as we all know, you can make contact shots with them and fire all 6 rounds. You don't have to worry about it being pushed out of battery. And then my number 2 reason, which in a way could be considered number 1, is even though there are cases where someone is able to get off multiple rounds at a bear, there are also plenty of cases where the bear jumps out at you at the last second, okay? They are animals that do track in stock. So you got to understand that worst case scenario, by the time you see the bear, it's already on you. And if you're even lucky enough to get your gun out and pull the trigger one time, like let's say I'm guaranteed one shot, do you really want it to be a 9mm right here, a 45? I don't have a 10mm. Or do you want it to be this 44 Magnum or something even greater? Again, let's say you get one shot before the bear rips your face off. What are you going to pick? Along with the fact that you can make contact shots. I mean, to me, it seems like the revolver is the winning option as far as handguns go. Another thing is, if a bear is attacking you, I think instinctively you're going to try to cover up your organs and your face and stuff like that, right? So say if your autoloader does jam, how are you going to clear that if you're using one hand to try to block the attack? Or if you're kind of sacrificing your left arm, so to speak? How are you going to clear that jam? With the revolver, you just pull the trigger. If it doesn't go off, you pull it again another 5 times. I think that's pretty hard to argue, unless you're gonna advocate a rifle or shotgun. Okay, sure, of course. But as far as handguns go, I like a Magnum round. I like it to be a round that does sting a little bit, so that way I know that it's powerful. But then again, 44 is really not too bad. If you have the right gun and the right grip and even the right technique, it's not too bad, honestly. It's manageable. It can be pretty fast and it's pretty powerful. So ultimately, that is why I choose 44 Magnum. Personally, it is my favorite handgun caliber. I don't shoot it super often, but I always love shooting it. I love the way it sounds at the range. I love that it's powerful, but it's still controllable. You know, what's not to like about the 44 Magnum? You know what I'm saying? Go ahead in the comments down below. Let me know if you guys love 44 Magnum, what kind of 44 Magnum revolvers that you have. Otherwise, have a good day.